Hey, I'm Mia Hemstad. I'm a wife, I'm a mom of 2 kids, and I'm a trauma-informed self-care coach. I also live with diagnosed PTSD and depression. I started sharing my mental wellness journey online in 2017 when I was diagnosed with postpartum depression and anxiety. And since then, I've heard from hundreds of women who all struggle with the same thing, putting ourselves last. This is a struggle that's keeping so many women burned out and unhappy, through no fault of our own, by the way. I've been working on my own healing as an abuse survivor since 2013. But when I became a mom, I really started to do the inner work of figuring out why I was putting myself last and how to start prioritizing myself for the first time in my life. This podcast is about sharing all of those lessons with you. So if you're interested in hearing honest stories, life advice, and inspiration that encourages you to make your health, happiness, and well-being a priority, then definitely stick around. Welcome to your No Longer Last journey. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm excited about today's topic because I'm a huge journaler. I've been journaling since I was 8 years old, on and off, of course, since teenagehood when I was too scared to write down my real feelings because of people reading my journals, but that's neither here nor there. If you're somebody who's been wanting to make journaling a habit and it's been hard for you, this episode is going to be super helpful for you. So listen in. So journaling, I'm not going to go into all of the studies. I love reading the research. You can look it up if you want, but there is so much evidence that shows why journaling is good for our mental health, our well-being, calms our anxiety, helps us feel more positive. It is honestly, hands down, the most affordable and accessible mental health tool that we all have at our disposal, and not enough people are using it, and I want to change that. Honestly, it's my dream to publish a guided journal someday, and I have no idea when that's going to be, and I know I've said that in previous episodes, but my mental health, as you know, has been up and down this year, so fingers crossed that it will happen soon, maybe in 2025. Anyway, let's get you journaling. So I have a couple of tips that I'd love to share with you. And the first is, number one, the reason why people are not journaling. And this comes from me coaching other women through this, okay? I've been coaching women for 4 years, so this is not coming out of nowhere. The reason why you are struggling with journaling is because you're potentially romanticizing it. Listen, I love a good Instagram reel or a TikTok video where somebody in a really cute sweater is pouring themselves an herbal tea and they have their pumpkin spice candle lit with their perfectly plush pillow that has the chop in the middle and the, what's it called? Those knit blankets that are super thick and chunky. Sorry, I got eyelash in my eye. Hold on. Yep. Listen, I love aesthetic videos. They're beautiful to look at. That's why we like magazines, and reels are the new magazines, and that's okay. But your journaling practice doesn't need to look like that. That perfectionism and romanticization of journaling being this super serene thing is the reason why you're not able to do it. Because your house probably looks like mine. Laundry piled up, toys everywhere, dishes in the sink, recycling that needs to be taken out, and no matter how many times you do those things, you turn around and it's all still there. So for moms, I think we really need to throw out that idea of journaling being this quiet, serene moment where you have your perfect journal and your perfect pen and everything's working for you, because then you're never going to access all of the benefits of using this habit. And that's one of the things that I always tell my clients. I say, would you rather access this self-care practice in a very messy and imperfect way and gain the benefits, or avoid having the benefits because you think you need to do it in a perfect way? This comes up a lot with exercise. I'm like, do you need a matching workout set and a perfectly clean living room to exercise? Or would you rather exercise and get the benefits even though you are wearing your pajamas and you're surrounded by Legos, as long as you're not stepping on those Legos, if you know what I mean? So that's the first thing. Ditch romanticization. Journaling is a tool. See it as a tool, not as some sort of romantic practice. We are beyond those days, okay? And that also reminds me of a personal story I want to share with you. I had stopped journaling for a very long time, and then after I had my bout of major suicidal ideation, had to call the suicide crisis line, it's a whole thing. Episode 7 goes more into that. I basically started journaling on printer paper. I didn't even wait to get a journal. I wanted to change my life. I was sick of feeling suicidal. I was sick of feeling depressed. I wanted to change the way things have always been. My grandparents struggled. They passed down pain and suffering to my parents. My parents passed down pain and suffering to me. I did not want to pass that pain and suffering down to my kids, and I could see it starting to happen. So what I needed to do, basically I got fed up with that, and I grabbed a piece of paper, printer paper, every Monday, and that was my time to journal. It was about 10 minutes long, and it seriously set me up for the trajectory that I'm on now, which is a much better one. So that leads me to my next point, which is that you are probably trying to journal in a specific way instead of responding to what you actually need. The challenging part with this is that a lot of us who have been suppressing our wants and needs for a very long time have no idea what we need. So let's talk through that. First things first, some people are like, well, in the artist way, you're supposed to do 3 full pages. Some people are like, well, this influencer says I need to do 1 full page. Well, this person says I need to do it that way. Enough. Journaling is a tool. It's supposed to serve you, not the other way around. It's supposed to support you, not the other way around. So if it's not working for you, it's time to change it. If the plan isn't working, the plan's broken, not you, okay? So my journaling looks different depending on the season I'm in. Every day that I sit down to journal, the way I approach it is, what do I need right now? And that is a very revolutionary question for a lot of us. It's like literally radical because, Mia, what do you need? That's like, honestly, my husband asked me that question a lot because we've worked a lot in our marriage. But before I had that healthy relationship dynamic, which is honestly something we still have to work really hard on, I'm going to be honest, no one ever asked me that question, what do I need? When was the last time someone asked you, what do you need? The beautiful thing about using journaling as a tool in this way is that you get to practice asking yourself what you need. Because as much as we want and wish that someone in our life would ask us what we need on a regular basis and care enough to meet that need, we have to be the first ones to do that for ourselves. We have to be the first ones to do that for ourselves. The longest relationship you're going to have in this life is with you, okay? So some days I sit down and I'm feeling super annoyed at the mundane routine of life. But I'm living in something that I once prayed and begged for. I'm living in Europe. My kids go to a fantastic school. I feel safe. I don't deal with racism on a daily basis. I have so much to be thankful for. But because of routine and mundane and life, I get bogged down and I feel like I just want to jump on a plane and go to Paris, but I can't. And so what I need that day is to make a gratitude list, and I'll write down all the things I'm grateful for, and it changes my perspective. Some days I'm feeling extremely depressed and sad because I have clinical depression. And so I'll journal and I'll say, I feel really sad right now because of this, this, and this. I wish I had a mom that I could call. I wish I had a parent figure that loved me. I wish I had this, that, and the other. And I'm being vulnerable and honest with you because I want you to be vulnerable and honest with yourself because you owe yourself that. And when you can put those honest feelings on the page, when you can language that, there are literally studies that show, MRI studies of the brain that show that when we put language and labels to our emotions, the part of the brain that shows hyperactivity of fear and anxiety, actually that activity of fear and anxiety decreases. That's why labeling our emotions is so important. That's why journaling is so powerful because it connects those two hemispheres of our brain. It connects the right side, which is the feeling side, to the left side, which is the logic and language side. And when we bridge those gaps together, we create stability and regulation. And it's the coolest thing ever. So I need you to think of it as a tool, and I need you to sit down with that journal and say, what do I need? Do I need to write about what I'm worried about? Sometimes I write a list of all the things I'm worried about. And then I will pick one thing and I'll take action because action can be an antidote to some anxieties. Not all. Some anxiety is clinical and requires medication. I'm on medication for my anxiety. But there's some anxieties of like, oh, I've been procrastinating on making this doctor's appointment. Or, oh, I've been procrastinating on getting an oil change on my car and I'm getting anxious that something's going to happen to my car. So now I'm going to call the mechanic and I'm going to get that scheduled, okay? So sometimes journaling can be making the worry list. A gratitude list, writing down about how you're feeling, whether it's sad, whether it's happy. Maybe you want to capture a happy moment. Today, I played Frisbee with my kids and it felt so amazing to connect with them in that way. Capture that moment. It could be a way that you take stock of your wins and affirm and be proud of yourself. For me, right now in this season, journaling is all about reparenting. I'm constantly writing the things that I wish a parent had told me. I'm proud of you, Mia. Look how far you've come. Look at what you've achieved. Look at the healthy family you're building. I am proud of you. You're incredible. You're a badass. There's a lot of really positive affirmations that I'm constantly writing to myself because I didn't receive that as a kid. And so it's okay to use journaling as a tool to reparent. And I'm telling you, it helps a lot. So that's another thing I want to tell you. Journaling gets to be what you need. Sit down with that page and say, what do I need today? It could take 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It doesn't need to be an hour-long thing that happens at 5 in the morning while you sip green tea, okay? It can be practical and actionable and helpful. The next tip I want to share with you is that if the blank page overwhelms you, use journal prompts. You're not cheating if you use journal prompts. Journal prompts literally can be a lifesaver. When I was experiencing suicidal ideation, I had 2 kids, 2 and under, okay? I had a newborn. I was still breastfeeding. I had a toddler who had recently learned to walk and was getting in everything. And I was the full-time caregiver of my brother who had a serious autoimmune disease and he has significant autism. So I basically had 3 children at home, no help, and a husband who had a very demanding job and he traveled all the time. So I'm basically alone. I'm living in a city that's away from all of my friends. I am struggling with my mental health. When I was in this phase, hold on, there's something in my teeth. Okay, I'm good now. When I was in this phase, when I tell you I was numb, I was so numb. If you asked me what I needed, I couldn't answer. And it was because the depression had gotten so bad that I was completely detached from myself. So prompts helped me. And my prompts at that time were health, gratitude, goals. I would take a printer paper. I would section it into 3 parts. I would write health on the top, gratitude in the middle, and goals. Health, gratitude, goals. And honestly, it was only in that order because I can remember it that way. Health, I would write down how I was feeling. I feel brain fog. I didn't sleep well. My whole body, I feel like my skin is crawling, like I want to jump out of my skin. I feel sick to my stomach. I have no appetite. Writing these things down made them more real because when you're super depressed and numb, you not only normalize that pain and suffering, but you start to almost not even notice it. And by writing it down, you make it more concrete and it's harder to avoid and ignore. So that was under health. Under gratitude, I knew scientifically proven gratitude, especially writing it down and reflecting on it, can help you feel a little bit better. And I knew in my depressed state that I needed that. So I would write down things like, I know my husband loves me. We have a roof over our head. I have 2 beautiful children. I have access to healthcare. Things like that. And then under goals, I would write down one thing. And it wasn't just a random thing like, I want to buy a house one day. No, we're not doing that. The goal had to be directly related to the health section. So if I wrote down that I felt like I wanted to jump out of my own skin because my anxiety was so bad, I was like, Mia, it's time to find a psychiatrist. And I'm not even kidding you, doing that health gratitude goals on printer paper for 10 minutes every Monday was how I reached out to my insurance, found out what psychiatrist was in the network, contacted the psychiatrist's office, made an appointment, took 2 months to see her, had to organize childcare in order to even see the psychiatrist on my own, got fully evaluated, and that's when I was diagnosed with PTSD and major depressive disorder. I got on Lexapro and immediately started the process of feeling better. Journaling saved my life. And I do not say that lightly. Yes, medication saved my life. Yes, therapy saved my life. But I never would have gotten there without using printer paper and using the prompts of health, gratitude, goals. And the beautiful thing is, you get to decide whatever your prompts are going to be. And if you have no idea where to begin, you're not alone in that. A lot of my clients experience this, and that is why I have created 3 prompts and I use them with my clients every single month. And that is number 1, how am I doing mentally, emotionally, and physically? Number 2, what self-care do I need? And I cover the 4 types of self-care: basic, boring, brilliant, and bougie. And then the last one is, what boundaries do I need to make space for my self-care? And I use my 3D boundary framework, which is decrease, delete, and delegate. And by creating these prompts and these like buckets or frameworks, it helps them take that overwhelming question of how am I doing? What do I need? And it makes it practical, manageable, and way less overwhelming. If you want access to those prompts, they're completely free. Sign up for my newsletter. I link a PDF to those journal prompts every single week in my weekly letter. You can sign up at miahemstead.com/letter. I will link it in the show notes, but that is single-handedly one of my most favorite resources, and it's my hope and dream and plan that I can create that journal in a physical format at some point. But I need to make sure I generate enough interest, because creating a physical product like that, it takes a lot of upfront capital. So I want you to use those prompts, because I know from my clients telling me this that they're very, very helpful. And if staring at the blank page is hard for you, or you don't know where to begin with your prompts, use those prompts, because they definitely do work. And they're super, super helpful. So those are my tips for you when it comes to creating journaling as a habit in your life. I hope that they can help. I'm so passionate about journaling. I really believe it can help you improve your mental health and well-being. And thanks for listening to this episode. I'll see you next time. Bye.